Hey guys, in this video we are going to be setting up Ansible AWS. So if you don't know what it is, think of it like an Ansible with a full web interface. If you've been using Ansible from command line, this is going to be a nice upgrade. You get a dashboard where you can run the playbook, schedule the job, manage your whole team access. Really cool stuff. We are going to be building this completely from scratch inside EventG. So by end of this video, you'll have a fully working AWS setup that you can build your automation use cases. So with that, let's get into it. Alright, so before we start building, let me give you a big picture on how this actually works. So in this diagram on the left side here, we have our users. Could be your NOC team, engineers, managers, basically anyone who needs to run the automation. They just open the browser and go to AWS dashboard on a particular port. So on the right side, the actual action takes place. Inside our EventG lab, we have the Linux node running something called K3s, which is basically a lightweight Kubernetes. And don't worry if you are not familiar with Kubernetes. I'll explain as we go. So inside K3s, we have a couple of containers working together. The first one is AWS Web, that is a UI you can see in the browser. Then the AWS Task that handles all the job processing. Then comes to the AWS EE execution environment where your playbook actually runs. Then we have the PostgreSQL, store all your data like inventories, job schedule. Then finally Redis, which handles the job queue. So when someone clicks the launch jobs, the request goes through the AWS Web, get processed by AWS Task, runs in the EE container, connects to your devices via SSH, and boom, results show up in the dashboard. So there are a couple of containers working behind the scenes. Now let's understand how it gets installed layer by layer to build this complete stack. So let me walk you through this diagram that will actually make sense without getting too deep into Kubernetes jargons. So starting at the very bottom, layer 0 and 1, this is just our base. EventG running an Ubuntu VM. Nothing fancy happening here. It's simply a ground that everything else sit on. Now layer 2, this is where things get exciting. This is where the K3 kicks in, the lightweight version of Kubernetes. The moment K3 installed, it spin up important pieces, the API servers, scheduler, containerd, basically the core that actually runs your pods, services, and deployments. So this is where the real Kubernetes start. Moving up to layer 3, we have Helm. Think of Helm as a Kubernetes with a setup wizard. Instead of manually creating tons of YAML files, Helm can deploy full application stack with one command. It's fast, clean, and save you from a lot of repetitive work. Next comes layer 4, the namespace. All our AWS components live inside the AWS namespace. So if you are coming from network world, think of it like a VRF, an isolated space where AWS can do its things without touching anything else. Then we reach to layer 5, the AWS operator. This is the brain of the whole setup. The operator knows exactly how to build AWS. And we don't create components manually. We just tell the operator what we want. Which brings us to the layer 6, the custom resource. This is just a simple YAML file where we write our settings, the node port, some configuration values, and anything AWS need. We apply it with kubectl and the operator takes over. And finally at the top, layer 7, this is where the actual containers runs. AWS Web, AWS Task, Postgres, and Redis. The operator automatically create all of them for us. So that's the architecture in a nutshell. Simple, layered, and easy to understand once you break it down. Now let's actually build this step by step. First, we need the Linux node. So I'm heading to EventG and adding a new fresh Ubuntu 2204 VM. I'll name it as AWS server. Assign 2 CPUs and 4 GB RAM and connect it to management switch and power it on. Next, I'll jump to the VNC console. First thing I always do is switch the network from DHCP to static IP so we know exactly where this server lives. Then I'll install OpenSSH so that we can access it remotely. And if you are not comfortable with the basic Linux setup, don't worry. I have covered all this in the video too in my GitHub, so you can follow that and come back right here. Now over the VS Code, I'm setting a remote SSH and adding this new AWS node. While that is connecting, I'll go back to VNC console and install few essentials: curl, wget, git, vim, just the usual tools we need. And we are in. VS Code now connects to AWS servers, which means the real installation can begin. Great, let's install K3s, which is our lightweight Kubernetes distribution. We'll start by downloading the install script with the wget and make it executable and run it. This usually takes about a minute, and behind the scene, K3 is pulling down the binaries, setting up the container D as the container runtime, configuring the API servers, and registering everything as systemd services. Once that is done, let's verify it, and you can see the services is up and running. Next, we'll check our node. There it is. Node is ready. So K3 is working perfectly. Now to make kubectl easier to use, we'll set it up to work without sudo. So I'll create .kube directory, copy over the configuration file, fix the permission, and export the kube config variable. Then we'll add those export line into the bash so it stays permanent. That's it. kubectl is working smoothly, no sudo required. K3 is officially ready. Next up is Helm, the package manager for Kubernetes. Super simple, one command and it is installed. Once the Helm is ready, we'll add AWS operator repository and update it. Now let's search for the operator just to confirm everything is available. And there it is. We have the version 3.2.0. Before installing anything, we'll create a dedicated AWS namespace. This is an isolated space where all the AWS components will live. Now quick but important step. I'm going to pre-pull the AWS operator image. Sometimes Kubernetes try to pull it automatically and hits a network timeout. So doing it manually avoid these headaches. With the image ready locally, we can install the operator using Helm. You'll notice I am not using --wait flag that often cause unnecessary timeout during the installation. So just watch the pods manually. And there we go, the operator pod is up, 2/2 ready. The brain of Endor AWS setup is now running and waiting for our instructions. Now comes to the exciting part, telling the operator what to build by applying a custom resource. So this simple YAML file defines one thing, create AWS instance and expose it to this particular node port. And you can define whatever port you wish to. The operator reads this file and immediately get to work. First up, Postgres, your database layer, start running. Then the AWS web and the task port get created. But here is a reality check. These pods need to pull large container images, and depending on your network, this part can take time. If you see image pull back off or error image pull, don't panic. It usually just network slowness. If needed, you can manually pull these images using this particular command. Same trick we used earlier for the operator. In my setup, the interface took nearly 2 hours. On a good connection, you might be done in 15 to 20 minutes. On slow connection, well, grab a coffee and finally everything turns green. So we have the operator 2/2 running, Postgres, web, task, migration, all completed. So we are almost there. Next, let's grab the admin password. It is stored inside the Kubernetes secret. Copy that value. Let's verify the AWS service. And here it is, AWS service exposed on the node port. That's our access port. Now fire up the browser and launch AWS. Use default credentials, username admin, password, the one we just copied. And we are in. Welcome to AWS, your automation command center. From here, you can manage the dashboard, job template, inventories, credentials, and more, all through this clean web interface. On your first login, it's highly recommended to change the admin password to something secure and memorable. So that's AWS running on K3 inside EventG. So one of the best thing about Kubernetes is its reliability. Unlike Docker Compose, where you have to run Docker Compose every time, K3 manages everything automatically. Reboot the server, the pod comes back on their own. A container crash, Kubernetes restarted it immediately. Alright guys, if this walkthrough gave you one aha moment, share it with someone who is trying to sharpen their automation game. There are so many engineers out there still fighting with manual configuration every day, and most of them have no idea AWS can run this cleanly on K3s. So let's change that. Share this video and help someone to unlock the automation the easy way. And if you want more hands-on, real-time content like this, hit the subscribe button, and we're building an automation community here. And I would love to have you here. See you in the next one. Take care.